The FIL World Lacrosse Championships. Dick's Sporting Goods Park. Joe Beninati, Mark Dixon with you as we come back to play in the blue division. Australia in the gold. Team Japan in the blue.
See the Japanese controlling the opening draw, and this is a difference, folks, if you're used to watching NCAA lacrosse on ESPN. No counts as the Japanese taking their time, clearing the ball. They don't have to satisfy any counts, no shot clocks, so the Japanese will be patient with their clearing attempt.
Takahiko Shinohara is in the cage for Japan. Australia showing the ride early as we are just underway. Watch your score, Bug. Time is 20 minutes in the quarter. 20 minutes in the quarter. And stop there from Tom Vickery in the cage for the Australians, who look for the quick counterattack with Ben Newman. Off the face dodge. Picked up on the outside by Tetsuya Ozawa. And the Aussies settle into a 6-on-6.
Australia looking to crack into the top two. I know it's going to be a tall order. We saw the U.S. and Canada last night. Probably the two front runners. The Iroquois, the third team really in contention for gold. And after that, a lot of people consider a big drop-off. Australia, England, Japan, Germany. The Australians, though, 3 straight bronze medal finishes in the World Championships, looking to up their performance here in 2014.
A patient offensive set for Glenn Meredith's squad, Team Australia and Team Japan in their openers in this 2014 World Lacrosse Championship game. The stuff attempt on the turn. Will Pickett has started the scoring for the Aussies.
Good start for the Australians. Here you see it's just a little cut underneath the Japanese defense. Pickett just got a step on his defender, gets topside angle, and is able to slip it past the Japanese netminder.
Officials today for this one. The referee is Mike Bransky of the United States. Daniel Arneson, Lee Bryan working with him on the field. Ian Ashworth from England is the bench official. Japanese draw man Masumi Gino does not come up with a possession there. The Australians have it. Sam Bullock works it down the flank. Nathan Stiglish, number 5 in the gold, is an inside finisher. Marty Hyde switches it back up for James Lawyerson. And Mark, they've been telling us, the Australians, that Lawyerson's the kind of player who can be a swingman, both midfield and attack.
On a 23-man roster, that comes in incredibly handy. One, to give your midfielders some rest if you get into a good offensive presence down on attack. And second, it can create some matchup problems for a guy who can dodge against a long stick but can also take a shorty to the cage.
We're a mile high, just about 10 minutes or so away from downtown Denver. This Australian team in gold had been working out in Vail, an even higher elevation, and Coach Meredith was telling us earlier in the week he felt like his gang would be able to get some air in their lungs. They have the opening tally on the board thanks to Will Pickett. They look to strike again. Stephen Mortimer on the feed inside. They'll work it back up top into a settling pose for Luke Keesing.
Very patient Australian offense. Here we're seeing the Japanese defense. That first goal that was scored, maybe some miscommunication. See if they can tidy that up.
Loose ball on the ground. Racing there. Yuki Mizuta, number 19 in the blue. Possession for Australia. Nigel Morton will kickstart this for the Aussies, who are on top by 1 as we near the 5-minute mark of the opening quarter. After a massive thunderstorm blew through the Denver area, Dick's Sporting Goods Park, the main turf in the main stadium, open for business. About, an hour ago it was underwater. The drainage is exceptional.
I tell you, well, what did we have? We had wind, we had lightning, we had driving rain, and we had hail.
And locust. Don't forget them. Mortimer turns the corner and sticks it upstairs. Australia to a 2-0 advantage.
Fantastic individual effort from Mortimer. And the second Australia goal scored after coming from behind. The first one was a pass. This is just a straight-up dodge against a short stick. No slide comes. Mortimer Look at him get above goal line. I said right there is where a slide should be. No defensive pressure. He steps away from his individual defender and delivers top shelf.
Masumi Gino to take the draw and win it for Japan, and going right to the cage. Lets it go on the bouncer that was stopped by Vickery. Veteran netminder for the Australians. Aussies work it down the flank. Here's the early front runner for the best nickname in the tournament. Callum Robinson's nickname, the Big Koala. All 6'3", 230 of him.
Never met a koala that big, Joe, and I hope I never do.
No, he is a menacing sort. Powerful man, plays defense at Stevenson University, college in the Baltimore, Maryland area. Back behind the cage, they find Matt Diver, who's inverted. Midfielder playing below the goal line. Aussies have a 2-0 advantage in the first 6 minutes. Newman on the sweep. Picked up there on the outside. The defensive play made by Yusuke Sahoda. Diver. Didn't get topside on the flip. They play the two-man game. Short-circuited by the Japanese defender, Jun Motoshita. As this is flexed wide of the goal, it's still Australia ball.
Australia dominating possession right now, dominating face-offs. So important here in the international game with no timer-ons, no shot clocks, no timing mechanisms to generate offense.
6-on-6 play. We haven't had an extra man situation so far in this game, now some 7 minutes old. Will Pickett on the go. The first man to strike in this contest. Diver, double teamed. Good timing on the defensive check. Help coming on the outside, and it's forced out of bounds. Tutsuya Hironaka defensively for the Japanese in blue. Team Japan. The history of Japanese lacrosse starting back in April of 1986, Mark. Keio University students visiting the United States Embassy, and all of a sudden, a gentleman named Bob Scott, who was then athletic director at Johns Hopkins, with the help of Ross Jones, a vice president and secretary at Johns Hopkins, made the donation of 10 sticks that started a program and has now existed at the national level. This sidewinder goes wide of Vickery. The Japanese wearing the blue jerseys with the red numerals. I don't know about you, buddy, but they're difficult to pick up.
Tough to see, blending right into those blue jerseys.
Not really that important.
But I tell you, Joe, the genesis of Japanese lacrosse, you think back to Bob Scott, then a tradition continued by Don Zimmerman, head coach of Johns Hopkins University. Exchange programs. When I played at Johns Hopkins, we had Japanese exchange students coming over, taking courses, but also learning lacrosse. They were our team managers, soaking up everything lacrosse-wise at practice.
On the go, getting to the cage and putting it away. Japan has its first tally. Gaku Iwano getting to the net and stashing the first marker of the World Championships for Japan.
Two things you'll notice about Japan: quickness and intelligence. And the dodger recognizes no backside help. And then look at the quick jab step to get around and stick the ball in the back of the cage. Late flag as well. I think we may have a hold against Australia. Well, number 24, John Takarura.
Takarua now in his 4th World Championship. Elder statesman, leader, and a former all-world selection back in the summer of 2006 when the games were in London, Ontario. Japan has trimmed Australia's lead to 1, and they get face-off possession. Their main draw man, Masumi Gino, doing the work.
Big to get those face-offs, not only for possession, but for Japan to get into a rhythm, to get some momentum, as the first 7 minutes of this game dominated by Australia.
Wataru Sugu is 9 in the blue. He was the high scorer for the Japanese in 2010. He delivers it up top. 6-on-6 we continue to play halfway through the opening quarter. Two teams that had to wait through a weather delay. Our game originally scheduled to start 5 o'clock local time. Kicking off just after 6:30 on this bouncer. Vickery gets a whisker of that. It'll be backed up by Mikisuke Sekine. Sekine, we're 3 in the blue. Very patient, deliberate offensive set for the Japanese. The ball bouncing loose, and Vickery right there to control. The 31-year-old netminder, the top rear guard and stopper for head coach Glenn Meredith. Ball advanced by Sam Bullock. We continue to play 6-on-6 at the offensive end. Sharpshooting Anson Carter is 22 in the goal. Look for him to pull the trigger from range. He will not have any reservations about doing it, and the shot gets up there close to 95 miles an hour. Australia has goals from Pickett and Mortimer. This is Nigel Morton in possession. Off the split dodge, Lawyerson. Marked well by Tetsuya Ozawa. A bad pass there. We mentioned the rain. That almost looked like a wet pocket type pass.
Took the words right out of my mouth as that one just dove into the turf here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park.
Right now there isn't any precipitation, but I'm sure the guys had to warm up into the drops.
And this field, I think we should mention, I think you already did, it was a puddle about an hour ago at the center of the field and on the box lines as well. It's drained extremely well, but still there has to be a lot of moisture out there, and it will affect the pockets and the sticks of these players.
Members of our ESPN crew who work at this facility quite often, Dick's Sporting Goods Park, they say the drainage is excellent, and we have proof positive of it. With what it looked like just a mere 80 minutes ago, 90 minutes ago. The Japanese on the attack, trailing by 1. Sugu on the feed. Bring it this way for Mitsuhito Okabe. Okabe gets the alley, doesn't pull the trigger. Off the split. Good defensive work. Short stick defensive midfielder Matthew Fuss, who was originally supposed to be an alternate for this team. An injury to Tom Freeman getting him into the lineup for this World Championship opener. Extended possession for the Japanese. Sekine forced off. Lobbing it back over the top. Iwano, who has the goal for Japan just a few moments ago. On the isolation, going one-on-one, running downhill. Good angle taken by Morton. Quick ball movement, and the sidewinder is stopped by Vickery with a collision around the crease.
Love the ball movement by the Japanese and their great motion offense, and I think there's going to be a hold foul as we see the step-in shooter and the rebound. Look to the right of your screen, right there, a cross-check even, delivered by number 10, Keith Nyberg. So it looks like the Japanese will have a man advantage for up to 1 minute.
Nyberg, part of a deep, short-stick defensive midfield core for head coach Glenn Meredith and Australia. The Japanese get their first look on the extra man and wasting no time, letting that shot fly, backed up on the end line by Sugu. Wataru Sugu, who turns 29 this month. Japan working 6-on-5, another blazer that goes wide of the goal. Gaku Iwano has the lone strike to this point for Team Japan in the blue. Give and go on the two-man game, and that's pumped wide of the goal. Ryu Matsushita missed the mark. Sugu had the backup, though, and Japan continues in this possession, working with the extra man for another 10 ticks. 5 and change to go in the opening quarter. Fourth game we've had for you on ESPN3 as Vickery watches this sail wide. A couple of blowouts. Netherlands and Scotland emphatically over their opponents. And then Germany down Belgium. In our game, Mark, we were very impressed with what we saw from Germany out of the red division.
Great face-off work. Excellent offensive execution, especially in the second half. And really did what they needed to do to win that game against the Belgians.
On the roll dodge, it's Ozawa, kicking it back behind the cage. Sekine, Sugu, and Hatada, the starting attack for the Japanese. Matsushita, dangerous first midfielder, gets the jump on his defender and sailed it wide, as it was a good recovery from Thomas Graham, who's really elevated his play in the Australian club leagues.
Yeah, and what we're seeing right now is Japan getting comfortable. They're getting a lot of good looks. They're just not putting their shots on frame. If they can put them against Vickery, this team could be up by 2 or 3 goals right now, but I like the comfort level at which the Japanese are playing.
Ozawa with a step. Leaves it back behind the cage. The quick pickup there defensively for Andrew Ham. Japanese will circle it up. This has been an extended possession off of the tail end of an extra man. You got some weary Aussies out there on defense. Robinson drew the foul there. He was a little over-aggressive against Sugu. And once more, it appears Australia goes shorthanded with number 2 headed to the box.
Well, great job by Sugu. Look at this. He's selling right there. Throws his head back, then watch the whack in the back there. That is what earned the penalty for Robinson. Just a vicious back check, and the Australians need to settle down a little bit here. They've thwarted some of the Japanese extra mans, but there's only so much 6-on-5 lacrosse you can play.
Teammates consoling Robinson, who says he likes to wear down attackmen as the game goes along. That's a beatdown. Where are you going here? Timeout? Where are you going? Anything? Coach Glenn Meredith giving his Aussies their instructions. This Australian squad faces the United States tomorrow. That's 5 p.m. on ESPNU. That's 5 p.m. Mountain Time. He's been at the helm a long while. On the other side of the equation, Yoshihiro Okubo putting the Japanese through their paces. Okubo's in the light blue with the sunglasses. One hand up.
I think the biggest thing with the Japanese, Joe, is every 4 years, every world championship, this team improves. They get better and better as time goes on. A lot of confidence and a lot of focus on fundamentals.
As we get set for the resumption of play, the tail end of this opening quarter, Pickett and Mortimer have struck for Australia. Iwano for the Japanese. Team Japan on extra man with 3:35 to go in the first. In cadence from station to station, the pass there delivered. Mitsuhito Okabe up top for Ozawa. Okabe keeping it hot back behind the cage. Sugu. This blast finds its target. Japanese have tied it at 2. A sharp-looking shot from the outside. That's Andrew Lay from Denver, Colorado, by the way.
So after your Sugus and your Nakamuras and everything else, it's Andrew Lay that puts it away. The patience and the intelligence of the extra man for Japan. Twice they had the man down at goal line extended open, but they kept looking, they kept working it. Skip pass from low to high, and Andrew Lay with a wicked shot finds the back of the cage. Big extra man goal for the Japanese squad.
Andrew Lay's grandfather, Daniel, connects him with Japan. Andrew's great-grandpa was a professor at Keio University. We talked with Andrew briefly in the days leading up to this tournament. He was huffing and puffing after a practice session. He said, "Mark, I've lost it a little bit." And he didn't lose the trigger there with an extra man goal that ties up Australia at 2 apiece. The Japanese have the advantage when it comes to draws in the early going. Masumi Jino has been getting the better of Ben Newman. Starting netminder Shinahara on the clear for Japan. Japanese with 12 players back from the squad that performed in the World Championships 4 years ago in Manchester, England. Where we will be in 4 years' time, as the World Championships go back to Manchester for a 4th time in that English city's history. It had to be a flag there. Motoshita wheels into the teeth of the Australia defense. There is a flag down, another extra man soon to come. On the move off the roll dodge, this one has slipped wide of the goal. Sekine and Sugu and Hatada have been very active at attack.
It's just simply a matter of using your stick instead of using your feet to play defense, and that's Anson Carter drawing the flag. Australia, heavy on the sticks, light on the feet. They've got to change that around, start moving a little bit more, and stop swinging those sticks and holding and slashing the Japanese players.
The Aussies, who placed third in the World Championships 4 years ago, jumped out to a 2-goal advantage. They've seen Japan score the last 2 as the Japanese are back 6-on-5. Over the top and bounced wide of the goal. The good retrieval. They bring it this way for Matsushita. Ryu Matsushita, 14 in blue. Ken Ikegawa is dangerous as Lei zips that one wide. Ikegawa, the fourth attacker for Coach Akubo, sees a lot of time on man up. Smart mover of the lacrosse ball as time is ticking away. 10 seconds in the opening quarter, 20 minutes running quarters in these World Championships. Good dodge powerfully to the goal, and the finish just missed. Tomohiro Fujihira snapped that one wide as we come to the conclusion of first quarter play, and not without some fireworks first to Shunki Hatada. Enjoying the World Championships. Australia broke the huddle, came out flying. Japan has rallied to tie it. The Japanese earning some strikes, a man up. We'll continue from Commerce City, Colorado in a moment.